Don't forget to check out the Social Oddities on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. T-shirts are now available to all our podcast fans. They're available in a variety of different colours and also in different sizes. Keep in contact, follow, like, and share. Let all your friends know to listen to the Social Oddities podcast.
It's the Social Oddities podcast, coming at you from 5 parts of the UK, all for one reason: the amazing world of wrestling.
I've never seen a crowd so fired up, JR. They know what's coming next. They can't wait to get started, and neither can I.
Good evening, guys, and welcome to the Social Oddities podcast. I am Adam, hosting for today because Steve is currently sat in the cinema all on his own, watching some chick flick. And this week we are joined by Kev.
You alright?
And one half of the Lion Kings, Seb Strife.
Evening.
Well, thanks for coming on, Seb. I know you've got a busy schedule with your new-found tag team you've got going on, but we'll move on to that later. What got you into wrestling?
What got me into wrestling? Well, first, hi. One half of the Lion Kings, and formerly known as the Dark Cloud. I think you could have said as well there. But
is that when you used to come out with the big sword?
That is when I came out with the big sword. Yeah.
Oh,
right. Back in the day, it wasn't that long ago. It was only a year ago. Anyway, what got me into wrestling? It was, again, like most people, one of those, never grew out of watching it, never grew up, always had it in me. I, like a lot of people my age, I think, when they started out, they probably started throwing the mates around, siblings around in the backyards, bit of backyard wrestling. And it was a few like-minded individuals at school and college that dragged me along to what they had as a backyard promotion almost, really, in Blackburn, in Lancashire. And they ran the shows, so to speak, on a bi-weekly basis out of a warehouse. That actually attracted fans, which was kind of weird. And just kind of got involved with that. And I think it kind of came naturally at that stage. Admittedly, yeah, obviously no training at that point. It's literally copying what you'd seen on TV. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I never thought, I was going to make a career out of it at any time. Never thought it was going to be a job opportunity. And like I say, I was still at sixth form then. So that's the kind of thing that got me, that dragged me into it. And to move it along a little bit, the Backyard Fed got a little bit of notoriety, got in local papers, and it attracted the attention of a wrestling school, which is based in Wigan, who came to watch and noticed that there was a few of us that actually weren't half bad, really, considering we hadn't had any training. So bumping came natural to us. We didn't have any fear of that or some pain elements and things. We'd happily throw ourselves around, and they thought with a bit of training we could perhaps do something with it. So a few of us went over to that training school, and that's so where it came from, really.
So how old were you when you started at this training school?
When I started at training school, I was probably about 17, 18, I think. So, a good 17, 18 years ago.
Oh.
I'm an old boy.
So,
but that was, it was probably, what was it? Yeah, no, I will have been 18, I think. Maybe 19 at a push. Like I say, my memory is absolutely awful, and that's probably because of the amount of concussions I've had. I think we're about 12 now. I think most people would stop what they're doing at that stage, but I don't care that much.
So it's pretty.
I don't care enough about my well-being to stop doing what I like doing.
So it's pretty much safe to say WWE will not come calling after hearing that.
Yeah, well, I imagine they probably wouldn't come calling after my list of injuries, my age, my shape. Anyway, to be honest, but whilst the opportunities are out there for everybody these days, it was completely different back then when we started. There was maybe one person from the UK or Europe at a time in WWF. It was, I suppose. Either Bulldog or Regal. There weren't many, were there?
No. To be fair, there's not. There's still not really when you think about it.
That's stark contrast now. I mean, we've got our own championship and potentially our own show via WWE. So in the UK, so you've got that now by comparison to 15, 20 years ago. It's a stark contrast.
I mean, obviously you mentioned growing up in Blackburn and then the school in Wigan. Was the British Bulldog something of a hero for you, not just because you were British, but because he's from that neck of the woods anyway?
To be honest, this might sound weird, but no. With me watching wrestling, I was more a fan of, I suppose, one of his family members, the Excellence of Execution. I was always a Hart fan, basically, back then, and I struggled to have any kind of, say, patriotism, or I'm not a big fan of, what's the word I'm looking for? I forget the words are coming to me, but tradition is the word I'm looking for, and I will just like what I enjoy, who I enjoy watching in any aspect of life. There's no sort of patriotism that's guaranteed with me at all.
Interesting. So you mentioned obviously the Bret the Hitman Hart. He's been over here a few times. Have you ever had a chance to meet him, or?
Not directly, not in person. I missed the chance once when he was over. When was that? That was with 1PW actually in Doncaster, donkeys ago. I've missed a chance to meet him directly, unfortunately. I was at the event. He was there in Doncaster, and I think it wasn't long after his medical issues. So he wasn't really. He didn't stick around that much because I was only there as a fan. I wasn't really involved in wrestling at the time, other than to be there as a fan. So I didn't really get a chance to meet him.
So obviously you mentioned that you started off in backyard wrestling Blackburn, went to Wigan, and then you suddenly ended up in Leeds. How did that happen?
Well, Leeds was university basically. Whilst I suppose when I first started at university, I was still backyarding because around 18, 19, I was still going back home to do that. I lived in Whalley, a little village near Blackburn, and she used to go back home to train. We even, what became my tag team partner at the time, went over to train in Wigan from Leeds. We didn't know of any schools in or around the area. He'd been at this school for a while in Wigan, and we both kind of went over from Leeds to there every Sunday morning when I wasn't playing football anyway. And speaking of football, I think one of the reasons back then I didn't take it as seriously as I could have done was because I had my finger in too many pies. I was enjoying life too much. I was playing football every weekend. I was playing cricket. I was playing Warhammer. So I was doing all sorts of stuff. I've been kind of I was grown up being a jack of all trades, basically, master of none, unfortunately. But jack of all trades. Just try my hand at everything. Just things that I enjoyed. Just general gaming and all the sports. Bit of kickboxing, bit of judo. So there's lots of things that took my time lots of things that got my attention. I didn't get a chance to. I didn't really think you could make a career out of wrestling, and it wasn't something that in my youth I wanted to do. It wasn't a passion like it is for a lot of people, and that's developed as I've got older. It's become more of a passion, and it's become something I've enjoyed much more. I like to say that I started wrestling 5 years ago and forget about the past almost, because in hindsight, it didn't really do a lot for me, I would say. I didn't do a lot for it either, but it works both ways there.
So you say like 5 years ago is when you really started concentrating more on it.
Yeah, 5-ish years ago, basically. When I met my tag partner in Leeds, and we still went and trained over in Wigan. Back then, we kind of jumped in and out of wrestling quite a bit. Didn't really work that often, weren't training that often, and kind of just drifted apart a little bit. Through a few years ago to about 5 years ago when it all kicked off again for me. I found out about Grapple training school in Leeds. It was down in Kirkstall, and I went along there for one session. I was actually living in Glasgow at the time. I just came down for the weekend, but went to it for a session. And to be honest, I wasn't that impressed. Didn't enjoy it, the session. Thought it was quite disorganised. Went back to Glasgow thinking, I need to do something here. I want to get back into wrestling. Discovered Source Wrestling School there, and ICW. Got friendly with some of the guys up there, and Lysa Dallas and Damo, or Killian Dane as he's known now. And I went to a couple of training sessions up there, but it was on the back of just coming back from my first major knee injury. I'd ruptured my ACL, and I'd been skiing. I'd come back, been in a stag do, and then within the week of coming back from the stag do, I ruptured my ACL. I think that was just the sort of wear and tear on the body through the skiing, the stag do, and everything. It didn't bode well for going straight into a wrestling match. Ruptured my ACL, and then took 2 years to recover from that. Went into the training schools in Glasgow. They were going out socialising with the ICW guys as they were getting started back in sort of 2012. It started before that, obviously, but when I met them, it was like 2012. And then got made redundant from my job which is the reason I was in Glasgow. And I moved back down to Leeds, so I didn't get much of a chance to do much in Glasgow, really. Spent a bit of time outside of wrestling again, and then, like I said before, discovered Grapple again, rediscovered Grapple, should I say, and thought, all right, this is actually better than it was, and to be fair, it was the only one I knew of at the time, so it was just down the road because it was literally a stone's throw from my house. And I'd pop down there every week and train and started wrestling again, and that's what the frequency of it reignited my passion for it, basically.
Who were the trainers down at Grapple that you know?
At the time, it was Paul Clark mainly, Paul Parizio. He was known as when he was wrestling. He was a good trainer in sort of the technical side of wrestling, for sure. He's got some great knowledge there. Also, James Carr was involved as well. You might know him better as JC Thunder, or perhaps even better as Boris Kozlov.
Honestly, that guy is brilliant. Kev, I don't know if you've ever seen him.
To be honest, because I'm not sure if you know, but he's actually my tenant. He's my housemate.
Yeah, did you?
He's just been out for a run, and he might come back and interrupt us, but who knows?
Oh, honestly, the Boris gimmick. I just find it hilarious. It's I don't know. It's just the stereotypical Russian, and
Yeah.
I just love it. Kev, I don't know if you've seen Boris Kozlov or.
No, I've not.
Definitely look him up on YouTube. He is funny, and obviously we've got the Boris bus going to TNT. Yeah.
But yeah, they were the trainers down at Grapple at the time. Grapple, it was a different beast then than it is now. It's evolved immensely over the past 4 or 5 years. From the state of the facilities, so the mats, the ring, it was falling apart. You know, we had 2 rings. There was a 6-sided one, for some reason called 6-sided Shirley, and there was a 4-sided one called Frank.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know who gave them the names or why, but the 4-sided ring was bowed in the middle, so it just dipped. It was like wrestling in a half pipe. It was, and the 6-sided one was literally just falling apart. What wasn't wrong with it? So the mats were all sort of dilapidated as well. I mean, it was what it was. People had much worse. People didn't have rings to train in, you know. So I can't complain. And like I said, it reignited my passion for wrestling, for training, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. And then it evolved over the past sort of 4 or 5 years. We've added a fresh bunch of faces, new trainers, new facilities. I mean, that was the new facility side of things was kind of forced because of the floods. Was it 2015?
Yeah.
Boxing Day floods.
Yeah.
The down in Kirkstall was a mess. So the rings were destroyed, and all the matting, everything. Basically, the entire building was knackered. But fundraising and a little bit of a grant and a generous loan from a certain individual went towards buying a new ring, which is the one that's in use now for Grapple, and we moved facilities to Morley, to Brain and Brawn Fitness, or Fight Science as it was known at the time, and added Marty Jones, the legend himself, and the Mexican sensation El Ligero as trainers. And those sessions have just driven the attendee volumes up, and the quality of trainee has improved dramatically, and the quality of wrestler that it's producing has improved dramatically.
How does Ligero have time to train when he seems to wrestle 7 nights a week?
It's a good question.
In fact, he probably wrestles about 9 times a week.
Particularly during summer. I think, what did he have this year? 58 matches this summer, I think.
Wow.
Which is over a 6-week period. He's, I think, without doubt, the hardest working man in match wise.
Yeah.
In wrestling, I think, possibly in the world, to be honest. He's such a talented individual, so dedicated to the sport, and he's a great trainer.
I can remember one show I was going to. It may have been a Tidal show, and the night before it was in Romania or somewhere.
Quite possibly.
It was ridiculous.
Well, there's been times where people have pulled out of shows because they don't think they can get from one venue to another.
Yeah.
But he'll do it easily. He doesn't matter. If he thinks he can get there, he'll get there. Sometimes you might have to jig the card around.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Make room for it, but something you'd put on as a main event might open the show.
Yeah.
But he will make the show. He's incredibly hardworking.
Yeah. So what is he like as a trainer then?
He's strict. He needs to be. Sometimes you see trainees sort of chatting, messing about a little bit, not necessarily paying attention. Or with wrestling, you've got to show respect. So, like with anything really, but if someone's being demonstrated something in the ring, or they're performing in the ring, if you're at a training session, you should be watching them. You should be listening to their feedback and also applying that feedback to yourself as well.
Yeah.
If he sees someone on their phone or, just not paying attention, chatting, whatever, then he'll call them out on it. And so you should.
But what's the language barrier like if you're shouting at somebody?
Well, I don't really know how to answer that, to be honest. His translator is very good.
Right.
We need him on a podcast.
Well,
It would be an interesting podcast, to be honest. I'd like to. That is pretty much it. Unless his translator's there, you never know.
It's like the what is it? The forbidden fruit that nobody can have.
That's it. I mean, the man he's got so much knowledge and experience. He would be great. As a character, he would be great to have on any podcast, for any interview, documentary, whatever. But it doesn't happen for one reason or another.
He just hasn't got the time, has he?
Well, he's too busy.
Yeah.
He's too busy. And who could blame him? He wants to work. Let him work.
Yeah, and he's damn good at it as well.
Well, that's it. And they say when he's not wrestling, he's teaching. He's watching matches to provide feedback for students. I send him matches. Anyone that trains under him, I think we'll be sending him matches to watch. And we don't send them to him, obviously, other people as well. But he's one of those great individuals that will sit and take his time out of his life to watch your matches back and give you feedback on them. So to improve yourself, improve your performances. So I can't thank him enough for that and what he's helped me achieve.
I mean, whenever I see a Ligero on a card, I always know it's going to be a good match.
Of course it is.
But every time I see El Ligero versus Bubblegum on a card, I know it's going to be a fucking great match.
Yeah, I mean,
is that happening at ICW this weekend?
I don't know, Kev. You're going.
Yeah, I'm going. I'm going to look on that now.
Yeah, because
I know both of them's on the card.
If it's them two, you know for a fact it's going to be a fantastic match.
Well, that's it. They go back. They started about the same time I did, and like going back to where I started training, they obviously had the passion when they were younger for it. That's what they wanted to do.
Yeah,
which differs from me, but making the right choices helps as well. There were 2 training schools in Wigan, in the Wigan area. I just through pure sort of comfort, that comfort blanket sort of effect, stayed with the one I was always going to.
Yeah.
They went to the other, and that's the difference. They made the right choice back then, and I didn't. I get regretful about it occasionally, but you can't dwell on that past really.
Well, no, there's everything.
What could have been.
Everything happens for a reason and all that, doesn't it?
Oh yeah, exactly. My main focus is now, and my current improvement. I'm good now. I've obviously just come back from injury as well, as you'll know. Again, from the second ACL rupture, and I'm just looking to do as much in wrestling now for myself, and obviously for my tag partner as well as I and we can. We've both missed out on the last year, which is a hell of a lot's happened on the UK scene in the last year. A lot of people have come through, and I feel like we've missed out a little bit because we were both injured for a year. We both came back around June, July, and we want to make as much of it as we can going forward. So we're working hard and we want to get out there.
Is that when you came back when you blatantly lied to my face?
I don't know about blatantly lying to you. I never said no.
You had a bet that you wouldn't be involved. That's pretty much saying no.
Yeah, but I can throw a bet. I mean, people frown upon throwing bets.
Yeah, but you threw a bet in my favour.
Exactly.
Oh.
I don't know. Kayfabe isn't completely dead.
No. For those who don't know, Seb was out for how long? Were you out for? A year.
12 months.
A year. He was coming back from injury. There was a storyline with Tidal where it was a 4-on-3. Or was it?
It was 4-on-3. It was Sean Onley, Dan Evans, Dara Diablo, and Jimmy Havoc
versus the Primate.
That's the service. Yeah, Primate, Rampage, and HT Drake.
So maybe me could see that there's definitely a need for a fourth man.
Absolutely.
So I had a bet with Seb that it was him. He said no, he's not ready yet. Blah blah blah. And then he does a cannonball off a stage onto I don't know how many were there. It wasn't just the 4. Yeah. Which was the best cannonball from a big guy I've seen.
I appreciate that,
especially off a stage.
Yeah. No, well, it was meant to be. The fourth man was always meant to be Alexander Henry with the other half of the New Nation with Jason Prime, but unfortunately, circumstances changed and he's no longer. I believe he's no longer wrestling. I don't know the full ins and outs of it, but I believe he's no longer wrestling. So that spot was open. It was mooted. It was put to me probably a few months prior that, will you be ready? And I didn't know, basically. And if you ask my girlfriend, she would have said no, I wasn't ready. To be honest, if you ask me, I wasn't really ready either. I was probably 90%. But given the circumstances, given the storyline and the fact that the service, so to speak, Sean Only in particular, it was that match with them where I injured myself. High Tide 2016 at the first O2 Academy show for the title. That I ruptured my ACL in the most innocuous fashion, just turning around in the ring. No move, no nothing, just turning around. It was a re-rupture though, so it was probably going to go at any point. And just the whole thing with the service and me being almost some people perceive me to be in some regard as like the face of Tidal, or the face of Tidal management in a way, and I'm not. Just want to put that out there. I don't own Tidal, I don't run Tidal, I just help out, and I help out wherever anyone needs me, whatever company you are. All I want is for everyone to succeed, so that's what I do. To quote Mark Henry there, I think. And I'm going off tangent a little bit, but the storyline just culminated to this 4-on-4 Tidal versus the service match, and it made sense to put myself in there, even though I wasn't really ready for it. And I knew I was going to be safe because I knew who I was in with, and even with the cannonball, I'd probably landed on my head, it wouldn't have hurt my knee.
Well, yeah. So obviously, you mentioned like you've been in the ring with, say, Havoc and Rampage. Who's the biggest name you've been in with one-on-one?
One-on-one? Probably. I mean, I would have to say one-on-one Saxon, I think. My memory is terrible, so forgive me if I'm forgetting anybody. But Saxon Huxley, biggest because he's currently part of the WWE UK. So he would be the biggest name, I would imagine, one-on-one. Like I say, I spent a lot of time out, and a lot of the time in my wrestling career, it's been a tag team, 2 separate tag teams. So not a lot of one-on-one matches, to be honest.
I remember after the last Rise show, bumping into Saxon drunkenly in the street afterwards, and him agreeing and him
Saxon drunk in the street.
No, I don't know if he was drunk. I know I was. And he was saying that he'd come on the podcast, but he'd have to clear it with WWE first.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not sure how all the contracts work, but obviously you don't want to jeopardize anything. So sure, absolutely, needs to be sorted with the bosses first.
Yeah. So obviously, I've just touched upon Rise there because I see you at a lot of Rise shows. Are we going to see you on one of the cards soon, or?
Fingers crossed. I've been in and around Rise for a while, like I say, helping out. There's a lot of tension in the Leeds adult wrestling scene. Tidal versus Rise. People seem to see them as rivals, which I suppose they are. But for me, I'd love them to be able to work together. But I just want everyone to succeed. If both companies can coexist, both draw, would be fantastic. Both make money, it'd be great. But yeah, Rise. I've been wanting to work for them since they came about. Obviously, it's local, so why wouldn't I? The talent they get on their shows as well. It's a lot of talent you don't see on the other local shows. So it's an opportunity to work with other people that you don't necessarily get the chance to that frequently. They've got great creative minds, and yeah, why wouldn't I want to work with them? I did have a small part on a couple of shows when they first started, but then I got advised I might be brought on board last year, but unfortunately then obviously got the knee injury, so that scuppered that really. There's been, like I said, there's been a lot of missed opportunities in the last 12 months. So
yeah, it's almost like you're trying to play catch up, I suppose, or you feel like you might have to try and play catch up.
That's it.
But the problem is if you try and do too much to playing catch up, there's always a chance you could injure yourself again.
Well, very true. But I'm doing a lot to help prevent that. I mean, my knee, for example, I'm always going to have a brace in it now. It's never not going to have a brace on. If it goes again, that's it. That's me done. But I'm working to strengthen it a lot more than I used to. Now, I've never really been a gym guy. In fact, if I'm open and honest about it, I feared going to the gym. If I went into a gym, I would just want to break down almost at times with that anxiety. It was only, even this year, during my rehab period, I had the physio. I had a 3 months membership of one of the Nuffield gyms, but I got in there and just couldn't cope and had to leave. And I'm trying to rehab a knee injury, a serious knee injury, and I can't cope with being in the gym. It's not going to work, is it? But I've recently, with the help of my girlfriend, I've recently got over that, and I'm pushing myself harder than I've ever pushed myself. And I set myself certain goals to achieve from a body conditioning and rehab and just in general life improvement. Set myself several goals to reach by the end of the year, and I think they're attainable. So I don't want to push myself too hard. At the same time, I do need to push myself to ensure that I can stay fit, I can compete and continue to wrestle to the best of my ability.
No, that's good. And obviously you've overcome your anxiety, your fears, and obviously with the help of your missus.
Yeah, I've had people try and help me, and I appreciate their help absolutely. There's a few guys, Dave, who I've been to the gym with, and John, who'll know who they are if they're listening, and they've helped a lot as well. But I could cope whilst I was there with them. Now I believe, thanks to her, I can cope on my own.
No, that's great. That's great.
So I'm happy with that.
That's good. I mean, so obviously you mentioned now that you were a tag team wrestler. Then now you're back in a tag team within Circo, which I love, especially within Circo, isn't it?
No one could pronounce it.
And Serico.
Yeah.
And Serico. And Serico, and obviously your outfits are fucking awesome.
You like the lion heads, do you?
Yeah. So talk us through. It must have been a drunken night when you came up with this, surely.
Well, the tag team, it didn't. Well, it wasn't a drunken night, but it was. It wasn't even technically our idea, if I'm honest. And I'm always honest. I don't. There's no point in making anything up, really. So it was the promoter of Tidal, actually, that came up with the team name, at the Lion Kings. It was our not necessarily his last match before he got injured, but it was my last match before I got injured when we did tag together for the first time against Sean Only and James as the Surface at the High Tide 2016 show at the O2 Academy in Leeds, and we felt good together. We'd always wanted to team, because we trained together quite a lot. We'd always wanted to try out a team because we had similar attributes, and also people often mistake us for each other for some reason. We don't look alike. We're just both black. So that happens quite a lot. So we keep threatening to have a jar for people to put fines in every time it happens. And to be honest, we could have bought, I don't know, 3 or 4 different outfits if new sets of gear if we'd actually got this jar going. But it's just a running joke, basically. But we thought, after the injury, we thought about it. We'd had discussions with Ian, who runs Tidal, and he wanted to put us together again when we were both back from injury for a program there, and we just worked on it together, chatting through Messenger and whatever via text, just in person, talking about what we wanted to do. And regards to the gear, it was my girlfriend that designed the logo, and me and her collaborated on the design of the actual singlets and what have you ourselves. And we both crafted the line mains for the outfits and everything. So we're still a work in progress because we're new as a tag team. But it's something that we're both passionate about. We both want to get out there. We've got a t-shirt design finished, so some merch coming out shortly. And we just want to get out there. We're speaking of the Boris bus. I believe we will both be present on the Boris bus, so that could be interesting.
In full lion headgear.
We shall see.
Because I'm not going to promise if I'm drunk that I may try and steal it.
Yeah, I tell you what, somebody's already asked if they can buy one. The first time they saw it, and I said, they said, are you going to make them available for purchase? And I was like, well, I could, but they'd be bloody expensive because they take a lot of work to make.
Yeah.
And it's only the materials, to be honest, probably aren't that expensive, all in all. But it's the time and effort to make them. They were hard work to make, but we managed it, and I think they look good. I think they're
I do. I think they look awesome.
Halfway through the job, I thought they were going to look terrible, but I kept sort of evolving what I was doing with them as I was making it, and it came together perfectly, I think, in the end. So, I mean, if someone wants one and they're willing to pay for it, I'll happily make them another one. Custom lion mane. Why not?
Yeah. I mean, you've touched on the fact that your girlfriend's obviously heavily involved with everything, and
yes.
I mean, when I've spoken to you before, you mentioned that she's actually training as well.
Yeah, she does train. She trains with Marty Jones over at Squared Circle Academy in Oldham, and at Grapple as well. When time permits, she's got a young daughter, so she's got a young daughter, and she's going to Leeds Uni as well, studying midwifery, and her time isn't all her own, shall we say, to do as much as she wants. But she's training, absolutely, and she's coming along. She may make her ring debut soon. I'm not sure. I know she wants to. I want her to. There are promoters that have asked me if she's ready or not. So there's potential for it there, absolutely.
Wicked, so we'll have to keep an eye out for her.
Yeah.
So,
fingers crossed.
I mean, obviously you mentioned, obviously you've got all these different wrestling schools around Leeds now. Who should we all look out for?
Who should we look out for? Me. You should look out for me. I want the bookings. That is a purely selfish answer, but and Serico, of course. But no, seriously. Seriously, us. There are some great guys that you'll already know of that have come out of Grapple, for example, David Graves. Also training with Marty Jones as well, whether it's at Grapple or at Squared Circle. There are B.A. Rose, formerly known as Adam Rose, until somebody in WWE nicked his name. And people that down at Grapple are people that they've already kind of broken out onto the scene. Sean Only, obviously. Who else have we got now? Coming through, Luke Menzies. He's already signed. He's been training for 18 months, is it? 2 years maybe, and he's already signed to WWE Developmental.
Wow.
The guy's a true professional. He's a former rugby league player, professional athlete, professional sportsman, and he looks. If you were to create a wrestler on WWE 2K17, 18, whatever it is now, it'd look like him. So he's got a bright future ahead of him, absolutely. He's had his in-ring debut this year, recently, with All Star. He's got a lot of work coming up with Rise, with True Grit Wrestling, with Tidal, 3CW, and elsewhere. And the guy, when you first saw him at training, it was unreal how quickly he adapted to everything. He just a pure natural in every aspect of the word.
No, keep it
No
out.
jealousy. No jealousy.
One of the guys who I love to watch. I love to watch, but I think I've only seen him twice. Is Jack Bandicoot?
Oh yes, I can't believe I forgot about Jack.
Because for his size,
he's almost a dwarf. Is the lad. I love him to bits. No, he's tiny. He's tiny, but he's naturally gifted. He's so athletic. He's got so much charisma. And he's another one that I said as soon as I saw him, wow. He's definitely got it. And if he wants to go as far as he wants to go with it, if he wants to push it, then he can push it. Definitely. I'd say one of the girls as well, Evie Black, Ella, Dave's missus. She's got the right attitude. She's got everything going for her if she wants to break out as well, I think. But there's definitely some great people coming through Grapple, and there's plenty of names. There's that many people there that are attending Grapple Wrestling at the moment, the academy. I can't remember everyone's name because there's too many people. You don't get to speak to them that often, but they're doing so well, so there's no reason why they can't break out. They've just got to want it,
Yeah. Obviously, it's all about whether you can either go two ways, can't you? You either want it or you don't. If you don't want it, then you're not going to really succeed, are you? So
No. Well, that's it. I mean, you still get the trainees that come along and they just want to enjoy training. They almost treat it like a hobby, like going to a karate lesson, but not actually doing it, not doing it competitively. Just going to karate or judo or whatever as an exercise thing to do. People play Sunday league football. They're not attaining anything. They're not going to become professional, are they? They play Sunday league football for the local pub or whatever, but they enjoy it. It's some people see wrestling as the equivalent of that, and if that's what they want to do, great. Let them do that. But they're those that can have the ability, the natural ability. They've got to have the right attitude. They've got to have the right respect, and they've got to have the right drive. And anyone can make it.
Is there anybody out there that you think? Obviously, you mentioned Luke Menzies, who could be on the WWE radar in the next year and a half, 2 years, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he's already there. He'll be on the NXT as long as he can get in the country. Thanks, Trump. He'll be there on NXT easily within 6 to 12 months, I reckon. And for me, whether it's going through to WWE or whether it's going just to making it to the WWE UK roster, if that becomes a bigger roster, it becomes a show or anything like that. You've certainly got Dave Graves. You've got Liam Slater, obviously, as well. Two guys that have come through Grapple and NGW and trained under Marty Jones and Ligero, amongst others. Those guys are my picks to be amongst the elite, shall we say.
Yeah, I think, did they have a match at the last Rise show?
Dave faced Liam at the last Rise show.
Yeah, that was a good match, actually. It's just
those. I mean, you get people like you said before, Liggs and Bubblegum.
Yeah,
they work together perfectly. Dave and Liam work together perfectly. You know each other inside out.
Yeah.
If you put them together in a match, you know it's going to be a good match. There are. I mean, I've worked Dave loads. I've not worked Liam, but I've worked Dave loads in matches, and it's so easy to work with him. He makes it so easy for me. And we worked well together. He's come a long way in the last several. I think he's 4 or 5 years into his wrestling career now, training and career.
Wow.
And he's come leaps and bounds in the last couple of years or so.
Is NGW something to do with Nathan Cruz?
Well, he I'm not sure how much involvement he has outside of wrestling and training students there.
Right.
But he's certainly involved in NGW, yeah. He's another one I feel like a bit of a knob saying this, to be honest, but when I first saw him wrestle, he was he's younger than I am, but when I first saw him wrestle, it was for DPW in Dynamic Pro Wrestling in Morley in Leeds, and I saw him and I saw his attitude, his ability, and I just thought, yeah, he's got it. He's going to go far, and he has. He's done exactly what I thought he would, which is fantastic. That was when he was first sort of starting out, even though he was a little skinny kid. But look at him now.
I must admit, I do like Nathan Cruz. I've said it before, and here he's a proper cunty heel, and I think
he's a professional.
He is, and he plays that role so well. And you don't get many people who like that. I mean, obviously you've got your Pete Dunnes, who are pretty much on everybody's lips at the minute. But I think Nathan Cruz could be the next Pete Dunne on the UK scene.
Yeah. I think he was unfortunate to miss out on the main WWE UK tournament show.
Yeah.
He had a a so-called dark match there.
He did, yeah, because I was there. I remember
Yeah, well, it was yeah. It's a shame he missed out on the main show really, because he certainly deserves it.
I agree with that. He does deserve it. What was I going to say? Obviously, moving on, like talking about Pete Dunne's, and I mean, how hot is the UK scene at the minute?
It's unreal, isn't it? You've got your Progress, arguably the biggest promotion in Europe. I would say, obviously, got ICW as well. You've got What Culture. What are your thoughts on What Culture? Let me ask you a question.
I've been to one show with Kev, actually. I think I saw you after the show, that didn't I?
The lead show.
Yeah, the lead show. The wrestling, I thought, was probably the best I've seen.
Yeah.
I've never seen Ricochet, but I'm all against just spending shitload of money on them, and all these imports. I'd like to see the British guys. So I was kind of against it. Plus, I thought the fans were a bit up themselves.
Yeah. I don't want to, I mean, I don't want to comment really, but I hear that's the sort of thing that whenever I speak to anybody that comes to shows, they all seem to say the same thing. Like, what annoys me is, and it's nothing against WCPW at all. I mean, the shows are great. It's a great, it's giving people another platform to work on to a global audience, so it's fantastic. What annoys me is the fans, not necessarily What Culture fans, wrestling fans in general, that turn the nose up at certain either certain promotions or like I've done a lot of work trying to promote shows, and you'll get people that I'll go to WWE, an arena or something. You try and talk them into going to a local show. I'm like, no. And a lot of them have an attitude of that they don't even like wrestling, or they're not, I don't know who that is, so I'm not interested. Which I can understand, if some they might have seen in the past something like a little working men's club show, and they've been tainted by that, or those tribute shows that sometimes happen that can be less than good, shall we say?
Yeah.
But if they just need to give it a chance, or take the blinkers off and not just focus on, say, What Culture, and be blinded by the overseas talent. Give your local promotions and your local talent that chance, because that's the only way they're going to get pushed along in their career. They need the exposure. They need you to come and watch them. They need the promotions to thrive, to make money, so that they can get paid, so that they can advance their career. Come and support your local wrestler, your local promotion. I can appreciate some are on funny days, or they can be expensive, but just every now and again, at least, come down.
Yeah, I mean,
if you can.
Obviously, you mentioned the local ones. When's the next Tidal or Rise show? What's the next one?
What have we got? Well, actually, I'm heading over to help out on a Rise show this weekend. So what's that? That's what date are we on? 16th, 17th, isn't it? Of September. So
is that
one? Sorry.
Is that the festival one?
Yeah. So that's at the old Sawmill Garden Party in Redcar. Is it Redcar? Redcar? I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a silly name anyway.
Kevin, no. Kev will know. He's from that way.
Redcar.
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 Okay.
But again, it depends where you're from. It could be Redcar.
I'd be a Redcar, but it just sounds daft to me, does that? But anyway,
we just push up here and we go Redcar.
That's this weekend, and that's at the festival, so that could be entertaining. It could be a washout. I don't know. The forecast is for sun, but who knows? So it's not technically an open show. It's not a normal show.
No.
The next one after that is the Boris Bus, 28th of September. I believe you've got your ticket already.
I have, yeah. Me and Carl are coming over. I think we just heard it was a piss up, so that's why we're coming.
It'll be interesting. I mean, from my point of view, from Lion King's point of view, it's an opportunity to be there, be in character at a promotion we've not worked at before. So it's potentially an opportunity to get a foot in the door there. We've spoken to the promoters, and we've been invited down as well. So before the Boris Bus became a thing, what was it? A glint in Boris's eye. But it's an opportunity for us. So I'm going to treat it like that.
Definitely.
So looking forward to that. And to reel off a few other dates, we've got Grapple Wrestling, an Academy show on the 7th of October in Morley. Then you've got a double-header weekend for me, and these are shows that obviously I'm involved in. A double-header on the 21st and 22nd of October. True Grit Wrestling, 7 Deadly Sins in Fibber's nightclub in York. And then that's a Saturday, and on the Sunday is Tidal Against All Odds at Church Leeds, where we as the Lion Kings take on the Rogues Gallery, making their debut at Tidal.
I was going to ask you that. I've never actually heard of the Rogues Gallery, so who are they and what are they about?
They're Leon Mercer and Stan Kellett, I believe it is. They're relatively new on the scene, I suppose. Trained in the Rampage, so you know the series.
Yeah.
Trained under him and the NGW academies. They're a no-nonsense team from, I believe, probably from your neck of the woods, Kev, actually.
Who?
The Rogues Gallery from your neck of the woods, I believe, if you're sort of northeast-ish.
I've never heard of them, to be honest.
No, they are from up that area anyway. I mean, they work 3CW. They've got a tag team championship match at 3CW coming up, and they've got a match against David Graves and Ace Matthews at NGW Proving Ground in Newcastle coming up as well. So they've got a busy few weeks coming up. October.
Are we going to see you on any other promotions other than Tidal then, or?
Well, there's
obviously I'm on Rise.
Like we say, hopefully Rise. True Grit, we're on that show on the 21st of October. The match hasn't been announced yet, so I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say what it is, but I know.
Don't say.
Yeah, and what else have we got? A couple of grapple shows. There's other bits of work that I'm doing which aren't really public shows, so they're just bits of work here and there. But the plan is now for myself and Serico to push ourselves and get ourselves out there. So obviously, if any promoters are listening as well, then get in touch. We will be getting in touch. Absolutely, we are going to drive it, and we're going to sort of drive our own success and make our own opportunities.
That's good. And like I say, I mean, I can't remember where I was when I first heard about the gimmick. Carl just texted me, said, I think I might have been with Carl. She said, "Have you seen Seb's new gimmick?" And I was like, "No." And then he showed me a picture of you, and I was like, "What?" And then I saw you live at Tidal, and no, it works really well.
Well, like I say, it's still early. We've had 3-4 matches so far as a team since we came back from injury, and the first two that were a little bit difficult, the Tidal ones, because the dynamic of the match, we were just to throw kayfabe out the window. They were both face-to-face matches, which is a difficult dynamic to pull off. And we did all right, you know. It was receptive. I mean, those 2 title shows as well were difficult. Obviously, one of them has the power situation, which the less said about the better, really. And the other was quiet, shall we say, in regards to attendance, because that was a show that wasn't meant to have gone ahead. It was a date that never should have been. And then circumstances led to it happening, it being given. It was meant to be a free date from a cost point of view to the promotion, but it turned out to be rather expensive instead. But anyway, that's that's another story. But as we've progressed on the matches that we've had, the gimmicks seems to be getting over. We're happy with that, and we're gelling well as a team. We're coming up with new offense, trying to be what's the word? Be ingenuity. Have some ingenuity. That's the one. And it's coming along well, but watch this space. Basically, we'll get some footage out there, and as we get more bookings, the footage will increase.
So where can the listeners, the fans, find things about you, about the Lion Kings?
Well, if you're looking at your social media, you've got the Twitter. The Twitter and Instagram handles are, for me, Seb Strife, or at Seb Strife, and Seb has 2 B's, SEBB, STRIFE, and also on both of those at Lion King's tag for the tag team information as well. We've both got our separate YouTube channels. Mine's at Seb Strife. I believe Enserico's is at UG Warrior, but don't hold me on that one. So I've not looked it up. I didn't write it down. And on Facebook, at Seb Strife Fighter, which was something I was going to do. The fighter thing was some other gimmick I was potentially looking at before going full steam ahead with the Lion Kings.
Was that going to be like a UFC style fight?
More like a brawler. It was going to have a play on, like almost like a Street Fighter, like the game.
Yeah.
And like I made my debut with Tidal as Seb Strife. You brawler, jeans, t-shirt, fists, fighting basically. But I thought better of it because I wanted to look more professional. I wanted the proper wrestling gear. I didn't want to be jeans and t-shirt sort of trash bag warrior. I wanted to look the part.
Well, it's worked for John Cena.
It has, but I wouldn't say I was John Cena though, unfortunately. But it doesn't work for everyone. It does work for some, and it can work at certain times. We will wear jeans at certain times. You're looking at certain people wear jeans in hardcore matches and the like. So there's time and a place for it. But I'm very happy with what we're doing at the moment. So I'm happy with it, with putting the Strife Fighter thing behind me. That being said, there might still be elements of that occasionally that appear. End of the day, if someone wants me as a singles competitor and doesn't want me to do the Lion King's gimmick, there's other stuff to fall back on. The Dark Cloud's still there if wanted.
Do you still?
And that's kind of what the element was of an additional element I was thinking of for the. This is to put an idea out there, and somebody can steal it if they want, because I think it's pretty cool. But you might not do. The entrance, if you had the, a graphic, like a beat 'em up game, like a Street Fighter or a Mortal Kombat or whatever, character select screen, you select your character, which is me, but which outfit is he in? Or in the case of the gimmick, which gimmick is it? Is it the Dark Cloud? Is it Strife Fighter? Is it the Lion King? Is it original Seb? Is it whatever,
Yeah.
And potentially have the images on a screen. If you had the screens up for the entranceway, have those like flick through, like as a player selecting it.
No.
And have them selecting the outfit, and then that particular gimmick comes out.
That does sound quite cool, actually.
I thought it was pretty cool, but so I'm not going to do it. So if someone wants to nick it, then they're more than welcome.
Just give you 10% of all royalties.
Yes. Yeah.
Dear. I think we're getting to I think we're getting to the close now. Is there anywhere where you can buy merch? I know you mentioned the Lion King's merch is in the pipeline, but have you still got any Seb Strife merch that you want to?
There's still there's only one place at the moment you can get the Sega logo, Retro Games logo T-shirt from, which is redbubble.com.
Redbubble.
And if you go to redbubble.com and search Seb Strife, then you'll find my channel there, and anything that any artwork that you want that I've done can be printed there. We are currently, as Lion King's, looking elsewhere, but at the moment we will put stuff up on there as well, and you can get the logo or the image or whatever printed on whatever you want there, whatever shape T-shirt you want, fitted T-shirts we're in. You can get mugs, flags, stickers, whatever you want with the artwork on. So whatever you want to buy, you can go to redbubble.com and get that. And they're always doing sort of 20-25% off discounts every other week or so as well. So keep an eye out for those.
Yeah, Redbubble is quite cool, actually. I think I got my first Bull Nakano shirt from there.
Oh, yeah.
And
I do like Bull Nakano.
Take a step back and get off my woman.
I nicked a move off one of hers earlier in my career. I don't use it anymore. It was a submission move, but I was watching. I think was it a SummerSlam event?
Is it the one where she starts with like a sharpshooter, but then she turns them? Yeah, I know which one you mean now.
Did Paige use that? Or did Paige use that?
It was similar, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah, I was using that for a while. That was fun. But I had an appreciation of Bull Nakano.
Who doesn't? In fact, Kev, you don't, do you, Kev?
No, I don't.
That's just rude.
It is a bit rude, like.
I'm going to leave it to you. She's too much woman for me.
Have you not seen her recently? She's lost loads of weight. Yeah. Right, I think we're pretty much done. So, thank you, Seb, for coming on.
More than welcome. Anytime.
Well, we'll get to that.
Yeah, probably will. Yeah, and we'll try and get you and James Carr on together. That'd be
that would be entertaining, actually, if we're both on together.
Yeah.
Would it be James Carr? Would it be James Carrington? Would it be JT Thunder?
I was just about to say that. He has. If you do search, is it JT Thunder on YouTube? JC Thunder on YouTube. He does some promos where it is all his different characters, doesn't he?
Yes. And he's an interesting individual.
He's like a chameleon. He can morph into anything.
Absolutely. He's great. He's doing some great work at the moment.
Yeah.
And it's great to have him as a housemate because we chat the shit, shoot the breeze, throw ideas back and forth at each other. And I don't know if you're aware. I'm not sure if he's the brains behind True Grit Wrestling. So
I never knew that. No.
So yeah, he's obviously my support is 100% behind that as well.
It's funny that because I'm actually just looking at a True Grit Wrestling flyer.
Oh, oh my, not the same one.
Oh no, that would be weird.
Weird.
Yeah, for Fibbers actually. Yeah.
Yeah, the 7 Deadly Sins show.
Yeah. In fact, I think you gave me this flyer.
I probably did. Yeah, no, you should come to that. That's a good show. We're toying, or he's toying with putting a bus on for it. So keep an eye out.
I don't think my liver could handle 2 Boris buses.
I don't know if it'd be a Boris bus, but it'd be a transport back to the show. But so did leads of interest.
Did he actually come up with the Boris Bus idea on the spot and then not expect it to carry on? Or was it pre-planned?
That, I believe, was a drunken conversation.
God, brilliant.
And then you throw the idea out there, and then if there was enough take-up, which there has been, it becomes a reality.
So has he filled it now? Is it full?
I believe so. If not, there might be 1 or 2 left, but there's not many. If there are any left,
good.
But it'll be one hell of a ride.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely,
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be a good evening.
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm looking forward to seeing Kings of the North. I've never seen them, so.
Oh, yes, yeah. No, I've not seen them in person, so yeah, that'll be good to watch.
And obviously, and Marty will be there.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a cracking. It's a great card, that show at TNT, in Liverpool, and I look forward to being not being a part of it, but seeing it, watching it, and being a part of the Boris Bus.
The Boris Bus. Oh, fucking hell! It's gonna kill me, innit?
Well, everything in moderation.
Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah, right, yeah, but so yeah,
doesn't do moderation.
I know.
It's all or nothing.
In fact, Seb, you can't talk. Oh, Seb, do you want a drink? Oh, yeah, I'll just have a neat vodka. What?
It's clean.
Right, we'll wrap it up there. So thank you again for coming on, and we will definitely take you up on the offer of coming back on.
Hey, whenever you want me, I'm here.
Good. Right. Well, I have been Adam from the Social Oddities, and Kev has also been on here.
Very quietly in the background, though.
On a few words.
He is a man of few words. He is. And now he's going to spend the next half an hour editing it. Right, so
Raw.
we might as well, to be fair. Right, so thank you everyone, and good night.
Don't forget to tune in next time for more fighting talk. Please don't take that out of context. I was talking about wrestling. Catch you next time.